Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into today's second video. I've done the month ahead forecast of February already. You can find that on the month ahead forecast page. You can get to that on the links just above the weather video here on my homepage. There's a list of links. Look for February forecast and click on that, and it'll take you to the full forecast for February from GazWeatherBeans.com. It's a difficult one this month because the long-range seasonal models are not giving great guidance really to what may happen. They are sort of more unsettled than I think is going to be, particularly the Beijing Climate Centre, which really hasn't got this pattern at all right, even for this first sort of week of the month. So have a look and see what the February forecast is suggesting anyway. This video is going to be dealing with the next 8 to 10 days. And it reaches back to what is in the month ahead forecast. Actually, going to be a bit of a high pressure fest. High pressure. It looks like it's going to be dominating through much of the coming week to 10-day period. Have a look at the charts here, mate. Before I get on with that, just want to say about the ads. There's links to articles on most pages at GazWeather.com. Have a browse through widgets, any articles that you're interested in. Just click through. So let's start off with 500 bar height anomaly flow charts for the next 7 to 10 days. And we can see that we've got the E70F here on the left. The GFS is over on the right. 500 millibars, 80,000 feet, is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure being moved around by the jet stream. Red is extrapolating to high pressure, and blue is extrapolating to low pressure. So what we see from both the ECM and the GFS is that we've got a big ridge of high pressure around the UK and perhaps ever slightly to the west of the country, but generally ridging in through the country over the next week to 10 days. Troughs of low pressure are up to the north, so quite a strong polar vortex going on up there once again. That sort of locks us into this ridge of high pressure underneath it. The GFS is very similar. Actually, it's more central with that area of high pressure, centrally right in over top of the country. But jet stream is generally going to the north of the country, something like that. Although once it gets to Europe, it does actually split, and some of the energy goes down into a deep trough with cold air into many eastern and southeast parts of Europe. It's going to be one of those weeks where we're going to, or certainly later on in the week and next week, we're going to be hearing quite a lot about snow down in the southeast, around the Balkans, down in toward parts of Greece perhaps. There could be some snow down there, but it looks like we're going to remain stuck under that high pressure and not overly cold. It's starting off cold, but it's probably going to get a little bit less cold as we get through to next week. These are the upper air temperatures. We can see that we're significantly colder than average at the moment and staying that way for most of this coming week. We could bring some precipitation through around Thursday, and that could perhaps produce a little bit of snow in places Wednesday into Thursday. I'll probably update Snow Watch this evening with more on that, but overall very dry and cold through the coming week. Then the temperature ensembles are picking up as we go through into the weekend and next week. That suggestion that it could turn cold again through next week, maybe with easterly winds. Looks like it's trending further away from that. Most of the ensemble members now are going above average actually in terms of the 850 temperatures next week, but of course it's under high pressure, so it won't be that warm on the surface, and nights could continue to be particularly frosty. But the main thing from this is how dry it's going to be. There's hardly any precipitation spikes coming through at all. Even right at the very end of the chart, this is the 15th of February just here, and even at the end of the chart, this sort of area going into the second half of the month, still very, very dry. So we could be in for a notably dry month this month, particularly the first half of the month. The temperature anomaly going from the 2nd to the 10th of February shows that we're coming out colder than average. It's going to be cold week ahead. Most of Europe cold on average as well. The warm anomalies push right back into western parts of Russia. But with that cold comes the dryness, so the precipitation anomaly is very dry from the 2nd to the 10th of February, way below average rainfall for most parts of the country and for most parts of central northwestern Europe as well. Having a quick look at the generic charts, it's the GFS for a week's time, and it's high pressure all the way, firmly in there across the country. We may be bringing in some cold, low-level air from the continent with that, so it's very difficult to say whether it starts to warm up over the weekend. I think it may get a little bit milder over the weekend, but it won't take much to start to drag in colder, low-level continental air, but sitting just over central parts of Europe. So have to watch out for that. Even if it does turn a little bit less cold over weekend into next week, there'll still be risk under this high pressure of frosty nights, unless, of course, it's a particularly cloudy high. We go through to day 10, Thursday the 12th, and it looks like the high pressure may be starting to slip away into the east of Europe. We may be starting to build bring in a little bit of low pressure from the Atlantic, but it doesn't really come off, and actually the high pressure just builds back in again as we go through to Saturday the 14th. It's 300 hours away, it's a long way off, but the suggestion is there that it's really high pressure going on, with maybe a little interruption, but high pressure generally in control up to the middle of February. The ECMWF looks like this for a week's time, maybe even 9th. Got the high pressure just out to west of the country, bringing down this chilly northwesterly wind. That could bring some wintry showers to the east. Notice this very deep trough over Scandinavia and pulling down into Central Europe. That's got very cold air with it. If this high was just a little bit further westwards, and it's something we've got to keep an eye on, doesn't look like it's going to come up, but if this high was just a little bit further north and west, it would actually allow this cold northerly to affect us. As it is, we're just on the periphery of it on the ECMWF, but we've got to watch out for it. We could get another cold shot early next week if that was to come up. But let's stick with the idea that high pressure really is just to the west of the country, and that cold shot is running through central parts of Europe. We go through to day 10, Thursday the 12th of February, still a lot of high pressure dominating. Again, a very, very deep trough into Scandinavia, pulling really cold air in there. So again, we're just on the periphery of that. Subtle differences could pull that cold air into the country, but overall that's not overly cold. It's a little bit more unsettled for Scotland, but generally a lot of dry weather still going on with that on Thursday the 12th, and temperatures a little bit less cold than they will be this week. The GEM, finally, the Canadian, it's high pressure all the way. There we are on a day 8. High pressure is in across the country. Big area of high pressure, 1,045 millibars. That's an intense high. And as we move through into day 10, Thursday the 12th, the high pressure fest goes on. And it's mainly dry. It's very dry, actually. And there could be some cold, low-level continental air coming in with that high pressure as well. But it really is high pressure all the way through the first half of February by the look of it. We're on the periphery of cold on the ECMWF, less so on the other models. And even on the ECMWF, that cold shot stays to the east of us generally next week. So it looks like we're going to keep it very dry through the first half of February. And starting off cold this week, becoming a little bit less cold over weekend into next week, probably. But the detail on that, the exact type of air mass under that high pressure is a little bit uncertain. But very, very dry, high pressure all the way. It's going to leave me with things, struggling to find things to talk about probably over the next couple of weeks. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Probably do slow watch this evening. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.